This image right here sums up God of High School really well. A young troll kid that is the Monkey King himself that ends up releasing an enemy of his grandfather after eating a devil fruit from being way too hungry. You got a different main character who's like Zoro, who has cool finishing moves, frowns like a middle-aged Korean man, and is stubborn as f***. Finally, a main female character that almost got married off for money, and like Nami, even though you like the character for the most part, sometimes you want to slap the living shit out of her. And you can't get any more meta with the author Park Young-jae admitting that he has no idea where this manhwa is going. Well, after seeing the main heroine in a wedding dress slamming a rich CEO's face on concrete, I too had to ask myself that question. We are continuing on our webtoon binge, and today we're going to talk about God of High School. I first got interested in the series after watching a 5-minute preview of this anime releasing this week, and it instantly captured me because it had fast-paced action, and I was also drawn in by the character's badassery and I don't give a fuck attitude. Combining with what I saw in the preview, I've heard both YouTubers and people on forums really praising the series. So after picking up the series that felt like it meshed Dragon Ball Z and One Piece together, what is my honest opinion on it? God of High School didn't really capture my attention simply because it's not my type of series.
Hey, motherfucker.
NANI?!
That being said, let's first focus on what it did really well. I think the first thing it really did well was 100% the art. I can't tell you how many times I just stayed on one panel to admire the level of detail and shading that the author put into his drawings. Like, look at this panel for example. This is on some solo leveling type of shit. The amount of full body anatomy that goes into this one panel. As a webtoon fan and a part-time artist, you have to appreciate the amount of work that goes into this. I think the author does a really great job capturing the emotions of his characters. There's these times where instead of it feeling like I'm reading a manhwa, it really feels like I'm like watching an anime. Like, that's how good the art is. Another great thing this series focused on was the actual martial art fights and building up the hype. Hands down, God of High School got the martial arts on lockdown. I mean, it got every martial arts you can think of. Every animal in the lunar calendar, every animal of the Noah's Ark. 3 sword style, wooden sword style, no sword style, y'all name it. But of course, Taekwondo will always be number 1, and especially when you match it up against karate. Korean dinosaur eat the Japanese dinosaur. Now with all these variations in martial arts styles, you're bound to get some hyped matchups. For example, the main female character Mira's Warguan sword style versus Mami's WWE wrestling. By the way, seeing Mami doing that German suplex takedown of a main heroine that you don't really like was mad satisfying. The other fight that really got me hyped was Mori vs Judge Q. So this was the fight where Mori's only condition where he had to push Judge Q to the ground once and he wins the battle. And in a blink of an eye, Mori took off Judge Q's glasses and gently pat him in the pecs and pushed him to the ground. That face right there is when you realize you're the side character of the story. And Judge Q, being the sore loser he was, is like, the fight is not over. Then Mori is like, bitch, it is. He then proceeds to Ryu Street Fighter Hurricane kick him in the head, and he starts tap dancing on his head like some Broadway musical. I feel God of High School does a phenomenal job at this, building the hype of certain matchups and then taking your breath away during the actual fight. It could definitely feel repetitive at times, but it's still damn entertaining overall. The last thing I feel like the series did a really good job at was with the humor troll moments. I think we can all agree with the fact that Mira's JoJo faces is beyond hilarious. Like, these different faces she makes when she gets pissed off really highlights the manly strength she has within. I still remember losing it when she was standing on the back wheels of Mori's bike with a wooden sword, and when we cut to the bottom right, you see her gorilla face saying, "Get back here." It really reminds me of Naru's Mandem face from Barakamon.
Mandem.
Obviously, because you got the main MC being a mirror reflection of One Piece's Luffy, you're also bound to get some funny moments as well. I still remember the God of High School judges having a very serious meeting talking about Mori's screw up of interfering with the fight, and then you see Mori's face being pressed up on the meeting room's glass walls like, "Hey guys, what are you guys doing?" If you enjoyed that Kid Goku humor, I feel like you would really appreciate Mori's character. Now let's kind of pivot and talk about the different reasons why I feel like this series didn't really click with me. The first reason was because the characters are way too OP to the point where I didn't really care. Now we're kind of diving into controversial territory, but I couldn't find any real attachment to the main characters. Mori's power level was so OP in the beginning, I was just like, how is this possible? In the beginning, I remember how he sucker punched a dude that was double the power level as him. On a separate note, can somebody please explain to me how this man is a high schooler? It's like that one meme where they found out a high school basketball star was actually a 25-year-old man. I don't know why, but it was hard for me to connect with Mori, and yeah, they may have explained that this power level difference is due to Mori's connection with his grandfather, who is like the #1 fighter in the world, where in one of his grandfather's fights, it led to South Korea losing 10% of its landmass. Even with the other main MC, Taui, this series attempts to give him some character development with giving us these different flashbacks. But I don't know, I think these flashbacks were in poor timing because this was right after my mans punched a hole through the main heroine's stomach like it's nothing. I don't care how OP the character is, I just need to see some chapters dedicated to rigorous training. Even with Saitama's situation, you saw him doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and running 10 kilometers every single day to the point where his hair fell off. The second thing I didn't really like is how we're given tournament after tournament. It was very apparent from the beginning is that 90% of the series is going to focus on tournaments. Me personally, I like tournaments in series because it kind of gives us that breathing room from the main story, and in some senses does a really good job highlighting the different levels of each of the characters. God of High School, on the other hand, is the other way around in that the tournaments are the main focus. I could definitely see people enjoying this format, but me personally, it's not really my cup of tea. However, even with these different couple of qualms, this series is still overall really good and really epic. Even though I see the power levels getting kind of ridiculous in the near future, like for example at the end of volume 1, one of the main villains straight up summons Majin God Z's sword from the heavens. I think the best way to put it was my relationship with the movie Crazy Rich Asians. Even though that movie genre was not my cup of tea, regardless, I still supported by buying tickets because I knew that this will lead to more opportunities for all Asian cast Hollywood movies. In the same way, God of High School may not be my cup of tea, but regardless, I will support it 100%, knowing that it can only lead to more opportunities for these different amazing webtoons having the possibility of getting an anime series. 100% check out this webtoon if you have not yet, and also check out the episode 1 that's coming out this week, and let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for checking out my video. See you guys next week. Peace out.